everyone, I'm Greg from Zoho Expert, and today I'm going to be doing a video on Zoho Creator. So before I get started, this is our YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe, comment on our videos. If there's anything you want to learn about, just let us know as a comment on one of our videos, and we'll be happy to help out if we can. We are currently uploading various videos about different Zoho One applications. There's a great series on here in our playlists about automatically chasing customers for documents and getting them to make changes to their own records on your system. So definitely check that out. Anyway, on with today's video. So Zoho Creator is a really useful application from Zoho. Now, before we get started, the first thing I'll say is don't try to use Zoho Creator to replace or recreate CRM. So Zoho CRM already has tons of functionality built in. And when I first got started with Zoho, I wasted a hell of a lot of time on Zoho Creator, basically trying to create my own CRM system. And it was only as I got to know the Zoho suite more and I realized how powerful Zoho was, a good year into my learning of Zoho, did I realize that that was such a stupid thing to try and do and that I should be leveraging CRM. So I started all over again and I created my business processes all through Zoho CRM, and I just used Zoho Creator for a few add-on additional things to give my system, additional power. So in today's video, I'm going to teach you guys how to do a few key things that I think you'll really enjoy doing within Zoho Creator. So the first thing we've got here is there are a few built-in packages that you can look at in projects. Zoho make their own videos on these various things. So if you're interested in any of these built-in programs available within Creator, I'd suggest going to the Zoho Creator channel and watching the videos about each of these different things. But for our purposes today, I'm going to show you some of the functionality within Zoho Creator. So this we're just going to call our test application, and we're going to create one. Now, the basis of Zoho Creator is that everything's built around forms. So you'll see the first thing we need to do is create a new form. Now, a form you can think of as the interface by which you or your customers or your staff are going to interact with Zoho Creator. So we're just going to call this our test form, and we're going to create. Now, this is very similar to other applications you would have used before, like Zoho Forms or Zoho CRM when you're modifying the fields. You've got a whole bunch of different field types here, and you can basically just drag and drop to make what you're looking for. So for our purposes, we're just going to make a really basic form. So let's call this single line text, and we'll have multi-line text. Okay, let's pop an email in here. Why am I replacing the word email with the word email? We'll have a phone. Let's pop a date in. Let's put a drop down in. All right. And let's see here. So you've got a lookup field. Now these are really powerful. So with the lookup field, you can connect to other systems. So in our system here, we don't have any other apps that we've built. But if you had other apps, they would drop down here. So you can have Zoho Creator applications talking to each other, which is really useful. And then you can also have them talking to other forms within each application. So you can pretty much access any of your data across, the various things. But we don't have anything to connect to, so we're just going to leave that off for now. Now, you've also got integrations. Now, this is really powerful. So with the integrations, I don't know why this hasn't added. So let me just delete this one. Well, actually, let me just save and come out of this. Nothing's perfect, guys. Okay. Oh, okay, so that's accessing my form. We don't want to do that. We want to edit my form. There we go. All right, so what are we missing here? So we've got the email. Oh, the phone didn't add. That was it. There we go. Now, I'm not going to go through all the real basic information, like how phone numbers, you can have the country code and you can tell it to automatically default to your country. That's stuff that you can just work out yourself, or you can watch other videos on, because I do think it's a bit basic. The reason for this video is to teach you about the more the more advanced features that you can use. So anyway, on to the integrations. Now, this is something I really enjoy and I use quite a lot. So I use my system to talk to Zoho CRM, and you need to already have a connection built. So that's your OAuth connections. So when you're in CRM, you go to developer space connections and you create a connection, and you can do the same on Zoho Creator. So now we decide which module we're going to want access to. Now, in this case, I'm just going to say the products module, because I know there's no private information in my products module. And then the field by which we're going to search, we can look it up by, say, product name in this case. Okay. Now, there's a few other advanced features here. So there's keyword extraction. So, for example, if you're passing in field form uploads from your customers, and maybe it's a form to collect customer complaints, and you want to have the multi-line field be the complaint message. You can use the keyword extraction on that field to get all the keywords out of what the customer is saying. And the same for sentiment analysis. If it's a general feedback form, you can have the sentiment analysis run on the multi-line. OCR is for optical character recognition. So, for example, if somebody's taking a photograph of a business card or a piece of paper, a letter, then that can help you determine what words are actually written within that photograph. Object detection, this is relatively new. If I'm not mistaken, I think you can choose things like, of course, we do need an image and we need a file for this video. So let me add both of those. So image and file upload. Where's file upload? There we go. So now this is called the report, and each form automatically has a report attached to it, and this shows all of your various entries into the form. So you can come in here and you can see everything that's been uploaded onto your form. But the real power of Zoho Creator comes from, sorry about my zooming in and out, guys, it's that I've got some screen recording software that's right in the way. Okay, so let's go and access our application now. Or edit our application, sorry. So you can do a lot with your forms. So you can edit the layouts, you can make them really easy to work with, and you can even build in some custom buttons on here. And you can have these buttons do specific things. If I do a more in-depth video on Zoho Creator, I'll go into that. But today I just want to show you the general basics of it. Okay, so now we've got workflows. Now, people who use CRM a lot will probably recognize this from Zoho CRM. But okay, so this has been driving me mad for the last half an hour. My Zoho Expert, Zoho CRM, Zoho Creator account seems to have some issues with it. I can't reach support because today's a public holiday here in the UK. So I've had to move across to my other business's Zoho account, and I am now, I've recreated this form. The problem with the other account seems to be in saving workflows. So I was going in here, creating a script in the workflow, and when I clicked save, it wasn't doing anything. Don't know why that is. I'm going to contact support and I'm going to get that rectified. But in the meantime, I wanted to finish making this video. So let me just show you what this does. So you go to new workflow. You select when you want this workflow to run. So it can be created, edited, or edited or deleted. So most of the time I go created or edited, although you tend to want to design this in such a way that your users, whether that's your customers or your staff, are only ever going to create stuff in here. You probably don't want them editing stuff inside this Creator app. Because if it's just created, you can share a public link to the form with them, with anyone, and then they can fill in the form and do bits and bobs with it. Now, you choose when you want this function to run. Now, I tend to avoid field rules because everything that can be achieved within field rules can also be achieved within user input of a field or on load. So, for example, if I want to hide certain fields or show certain fields, etc., I can do that on load, or I can do that on user input. So there's no point in making tons and tons of individual scripts individual rules for each field that I want to show or hide. I might as well have one script on load that shows and hides the various fields based on potentially some URL parameters that I have coming in. But in this case, we've got based on user input in a field. And for example, what we'll do is we'll say when multi-line, so when someone edits the multi-line, we'll say edit multi-line. I recommend giving your functions or workflows a detailed name, so when you've got lots of them, you know which one you're working on. And now we're going to say, so you can drag these across, yeah, and you can fill them in here, but that'll just help you along. I tend to know what I'm doing though, so I tend to just do it my own way, or write them from scratch. So what we're going to say is, let's say if multi-line dot contains, and actually let's say dot contains ignore case. There we go. Equals true. So let's say if it contains Zoho Expert, then we want to say alert field contains, let's actually do this another way. So if we want to be able to use these inverted commas inside our pop-up, then we need to have these around our pop-up. So we'll say multi-line field contains Zoho Expert. See, like that. All right, so let's save this. There we go. See, that's what's meant to happen when you click save, but my other account doesn't seem to know that. Okay, so now we're going to access our application. And if we type in here, Zoho Expert, there we go. So it's run that script in the background. It's found that we do have the word Zoho Expert inside there, and it's alerting this out to us. So if we say help at zohoexpert.co.uk in there, oh, subscribe to Zoho Expert. That's a great idea. But as you can see, you can do tons of different things here. So for example, if you had an email input, you might say that you want to search all the other emails in your contacts on your CRM. And if somebody exists with that email address already, you might say, no, we don't want this person to be re-added to the system. Or it might be something else, like you might give someone a unique code that they need to enter into this form, and then you might go to the CRM to get that code. So for example, now I can't use the integrations because this will be the wrong data. It won't be from my Zoho Expert account. It'll be from a different account. But for example, you could have it look up a contact based on their email address by using the integration here. Now, these things are super powerful. So, I've got a public form that I've shared, but somebody needs a long, unique hash to be able to access that public form. And if somebody tries to load the form without that public hash, the form does nothing. It cancels off all entries, it makes all the fields null, and it hides all the fields. So there's no way anybody can submit that form without having that unique code. And so I can email people a link, say click on this link, add your details here, and if somebody happens to access that link without, or that form without my unique link, then they won't be able to access the form at all. So very, very powerful. Let me show you a couple of other things you can do. So we can say if this field contains Zoho Expert, then maybe what we want to do is we want to say hide input dot single line. Okay, well, actually we don't need input on the front of that. We can just say hide single line. So, and then let's actually say, yeah, let's say that. There we go. And let's try to get a couple of other tabs open here as well. There we go. Okay. So now we say Zoho Expert. And you see our single line is now missing. If we take that out, oh, we didn't say put it back. So else show single line. Okay. There we go. Now, there we go. So it's super powerful. You know, these are just really basic things I'm showing you, but you can think of multiple ways or how you can work with this. So for example, I've got in my property business, I've got this date field is important to us. So say we're booking an appointment. If we try to book an appointment for less than 24 hours in advance, a pop-up will appear and say to my colleague, wait a minute, you know, are you sure you can go to this property without giving the current occupiers at least 24 hours notice? You know, or maybe they try to book an appointment for the past, and something will come up saying, wait a minute, how are you booking an appointment for the past? You know, is this an error, or are you actually trying to put in an appointment that you forgot to add earlier? Because maybe, you know, they went to an appointment and another appointment happened and they just didn't get a chance to put it in their diary. Fine. Then they should be able to add that into their diary so there's a record of it, but you want to make sure that they haven't just clicked the wrong week by mistake when they were selecting the date. There's so many things you can do. So, for example, when you are working with third-party applications, you may choose to use the validate options here. So you can make a script that says when the form is submitted, you know, you run these validations on form submission. So this means while it's saving, but before it actually saves, run this. So we'll call this before save. Okay. Okay, and now say for instance we're working with, let's see. So if we were working with test JSON API, here we go. So I think this has a post that we can get to. Post, there we go. So posts. So we want to post to this API. So let's try this. I haven't actually done this in a long time. So let me see here. So invoke JSON post response. Oh, goodness me. Okay. Okay, and now let's just make our test data. Does it actually tell me here what's here? So we've got user ID, ID, title, body. Okay, so let's just put in the title and body. Okay, so let's see what happens when we run this. Test data. Of course, because of a spelling mistake. That happens a lot. Okay, so now when we try to submit this form, it should post to here, but this isn't actually going to help us. So let's do this on a different type of event. Let's do this on the multi-line. So instead of hiding the field, we're going to make the post, and then we want to alert back the JSON post response to see what the API tells us when we post to it. All right. It's not liking something here. What's it not liking? That's what it's not liking. Okay. So now when we go onto here and we write post, there we go. So what it's done is it's posted to that API and it's given us back the title and the post, but this is the important thing. It's giving us the ID. You see, the ID means we've created a new post with the ID 101. Now, your own API or third party or whoever you're trying to send data to when you're submitting this form will have their own response. So it might be a code. They might give you like a code 200, which means, yay, you've been successful, at talking to our API. Some of the APIs that I work with, they send me back IDs or OIDs, to show me. So if I'm creating a person on a third-party system, then it'll send me back their OID, their unique identifier for that system. And that's how I know that the post was successful. So, for example, in this case, we might say if, and then we want this JSON post response dot contains key. No, I don't like it when it doesn't help me. Equals true ID. I think this contains key is not right, but we'll try this. So we'll go alert that. So let's try this. Yeah, didn't seem to have a problem with that. So reset post. No. Else. So basically what I'm trying to do is this here is a map, okay, or some JSON data, and inside it should have a field with the key of ID. It might be user ID, which is why I've now just no, it is ID. Okay, so let's try this again. Yeah, there it is, you see, ID. So that's the one we're trying to fetch, but I think it's this contains key thing that's not. So test data dot contains key. Yeah, have I spelled that right? No, contain key, that's why. Oh, goodness, Zoho. Okay, so now we can say else alert error. Okay. So when we now go post, there we go. So because it was successful, it's showing me this. If it wasn't successful, it would show me error. See? So instead we can say post dot get JSON ID, and then we can say here success, new post created with ID. Okay, and now if we come back here, say post, there we go. So what we've done is we've made a script that talks to this test JSON API, and we inside the input user input scripts, we've created our script here that is going to post data to the API and then check. So this is getting the data ready, then it's going to post it to the API, then it's going to check the response from the API, and if the API includes the key ID and that equals true, then we know we've successfully created the new post. Otherwise, error. Okay, so why we've done this is because we can now copy this code from here, or cut this code from here, and we can go back to our validation script, because you see it's hard to test validation scripts. So I like to test validation scripts on the user input. Okay, and then we can paste this in here. There we go. Let's just fix the alignment. Okay, and here, and all of this actually. No, Zoho does not like that. Okay, there we go. So now, instead of having these alerts and these errors, so here we'll just say do nothing, carry on with submit, post to API successful. But if there's an error, then we want to say cancel submit. Okay, and here let's alert first. So we'll alert error updating API, cancel submit, and now that won't let us save. Now we don't have an error because this API is going to work. We're going to create a post there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just let's do this. Okay, and then let's just create a problem for ourselves here. So let's call this PTS instead of posts. Okay, so now this will create an error because we can't post to here. So it's not going to be able to send us back this ID. So in other words, it's going to go down here and it's going to give us an error. So now when I try to submit this, so now we need to submit the form. Aha, you see, now it couldn't talk to the API. So when I click OK, it comes back in here. It says, no, you can't save this record because you couldn't talk to the API. Now that's really useful because there's lots of things, like I've got a list of things that need to be updated when we use one of these creator apps. So we need to talk to a third party, and then that third party needs to send us back an ID. Then we send that ID over to the CRM, and then we create a record on the CRM, and then we get back the record ID from the CRM back into Creator, and then we do something with that ID. So there's like a 4 or 5 step process. And if any of those steps in between fail, we don't want to save the record because otherwise we won't know that it's failed. We want to see that it's failed, and we want to try and work out why that is. And so that's really, really important. Anyway, anyone's interested in that, let me know. I can give you lots more information, and I can help with that. Now, somebody asked about how to use these file upload fields and how to send the file upload to Workdrive. So I'm going to see if I can help you with that. So let's use the Zoho Expert logo as our upload. So let's call this Zoho Expert. Now you see that little thing every time over there? That's because it's running the script. So every time I'm writing in this box, it's running that script in the background. Okay, so we've now got this file upload. Now, what this person wanted us to help them with, let's just turn all of this off. Okay, what this person wanted us to help with was to show them how to upload a file to Zoho Workdrive when it's uploaded on this form. Okay, so I've spent a lot of time trying to remind myself how to do this because I remember it being quite complicated the first time around. Now, I don't know if this is the best way to do it, but this is the way that I've done it and that works for me. So if you are looking to take this file and access it, the best way I've found to do it would be to share the report. So you would go into your settings for this application. So let's just remind ourselves how to do that. Share, and then you go to publish, and you publish the report where your file is going to end up. So in our case, the file ends up in our test report here, and so we need to share this test report. So if we go back in here, you'll see I've already done it, but you just go publish component. I've already shared it, so it's not on this list, but you would see reports and you'd have the option to choose it. And then when you're in here, you go to get embed code and you copy this whole code. Okay. Now in your script, you want to basically paste the code. So let's do this. File URL equals, and that's the whole code. Okay. Now on the end, you want to add this question mark file path equals slash, like that. And then on the end, you want to add your file upload field. So in my case, it's just called file upload, and then don't forget to end it off. Now inside here, you've already got your test report, because obviously we've used the public share link. And I've already got my EU domain correctly here, but if you're copying and pasting my code, which I don't recommend you do, I recommend you copy and paste your share code here. Anyway, so then it's already got our app URI built in, yeah, so we don't need to change that. But what we do need to change is the ID of the record we're trying to access. So you see here where it says report perma, that we want to change to record ID. So after, where is it here? So we want to take this out completely. There we go. So we want to go slash test report, and then here we want to put in after test report, we want to put in our our record ID, so input.id, and then we want to say / file upload, which is the field that we're trying to access, and then download, and then / and then leave this code the same, because this is our public share code for this report. Now in your case, file upload, you may need to get from your actual form. So if you go into the form to find the link name for that field, you'll go into it and you'll click on the edit, and then here you'll see the link name, yeah? And that's what needs to be here. Okay, so now we have our file upload URL. I've already got it up here, as I had to do a lot of testing. So now we need to go and fetch the file from this URL. So we now have the URL that gives us access to that file. But inside Zoho, we have to fetch it, or invoke it. So we go File, Invoke URL, then this is the URL we want to use here, and we want to use the get type. And then once we have our file through this method, we want to get the file name. So we go file name equals file, see from here, dot get file name. And then here we want to use the Zoho Workdrive upload file function. Now I'll show you in a moment how to make this connection for Workdrive. This is whether we want to use the same name as the file or override the file name. So in other words, if a file already exists with this name, do we want to replace it? Yes or no? And then here we have our folder ID. So if you go into the folder where you want this document to be located, I've made a folder called test, and this here is my ID to the test folder, and I just paste it in there. And then so I've got my file, my folder where I want the file, my file name, whether I want to overwrite the file if it already exists in this folder, and then the connection I'm using, which is Workdrive. So we need to create a connection to Zoho Workdrive now to be able to upload our file to Zoho Workdrive. So we're going to go into our burger menu on the top left, and we're going to click Setup. And now we're going to click Connections, and we are going to create a connection. And we're going to use the Zoho OAuth, and our connection name is going to be called Workdrive. And we are going to find all the Workdrive. There it is. So we want Workdrive files create. Well, actually, let's just go Workdrive files all, and we want Workdrive team all, and Workdrive workspace all, and I believe that's it. I'll try Workdrive then. Let's see what that does. Yeah, okay, cool. So we have Workdrive. That's now our connection set up. So we want to update this. Now this code is running on our successful form submission. So when we submit the form, we want to run this code. Okay, it's all pretty simple. I hope you've been following along. So now if we go and access our form and we select a file, and we submit. Now we go back to our Workdrive, and there we can see our file. So that's how we do it. It's a bit of a roundabout way. It involves sharing a public link to the report, and that's where I think a lot of people go wrong, because the Zoho documentation doesn't actually tell you to do this. But I, when following the Zoho documentation, cannot get it to work without sharing it publicly. If you can, tell me how in the comments. I'll update this video, because that would be great. It would be easier for our users. But in the meantime, this works. So if you're looking to upload a file to your, through your Zoho Creator, and then save said file to Workdrive, this is how you achieve that. If you have any further questions on Zoho Creator or Zoho CRM, or any of the Zoho applications, please let us know in the comments, and we will do our best to help you out. Hope you found this video helpful today. Please leave a like and please subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much.